right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, Tuesday, July 22nd. The time is now 6 p.m., and I call the meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the passing of our fellow commissioner, Commissioner Rodney Woods, who passed away last week suddenly. And Mr. Jackson, do you have a few words you'd like to say?
Sure, and thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. As Commissioner Jay mentioned, we would like to make note of the term and the passing of Commissioner Rodney Woods, who unfortunately passed on last Tuesday. I only had the privilege of knowing Commissioner Woods this past year, and in that year, I am so very glad to have known him. As Executive Director, we want to serve with commissioners who have a love for the people, who hold you to a high standard, and who want to leave their charge in a better place than they found it. And that was Commissioner Woods. He would show up everywhere. He would talk to our families. He would question literally everything. And most times he already knew the answer because he wanted to make sure that the community knew that this board and this agency were taking their responsibility seriously in serving them. He loved his family, often talking about his responsibilities as a grandfather and the time he spent with them. He was an advocate, a leader, a hero as a firefighter, a faithful church member, a friend, a father, a grandfather, and someone who just wanted to make sure that where he called home was a better place. He'll be missed, his presence, his energy, and his friendship. So thank you, Rodney, for your service, and God bless your memory and your family at this time. And as a note, his visitation will be this Friday from 9 to 11 at Our Lady of the Holy Rosary Catholic Church, which is located at 1 Rectory Lane in Hanville. And there will be a Mass of Christian burial at 11 thereafter. And the burial services will be held at the Our Lady of the Holy Rosary Cemetery in Taft. And the repast will be held thereafter at the Kelowna Fire Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I'd just like to say, I've been on this board going on 10 years, and Commissioner Woods was here when I got here. He had just recently been appointed to the board as well, and his passion for everything housing and making sure the residents were advocated for and scrutinizing the finances and checking on deadlines and everything else. There has not been a greater voice on this board to do those things. The particularities to details related to our job as a commissioner, he did it just about better than anybody else, and he will be missed as a presence on this board. At this time, I'd like to just offer the opportunity for any other board members who wish to say a few words before we begin our meeting. All right, let's take a moment of silence, and then we'll proceed with the pledge. All right, will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah, we are. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, our first agenda item this evening is the review and approval of the agenda. We have a motion from the board. Ms. Diggs?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
All right, and that's seconded by Commissioner Bailey. All in favor, cast your votes. and that passes unanimously. Next agenda item this evening is the review and approval of our board meeting minutes from June 24th, 2025. Any discussion or motion from the board? All right, Commissioner Bailey.
I'd like to pass a motion to approve the board minute meetings from the meeting of June 24th, 2025.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Bailey. Commissioner Bailey's moved to approve board meeting minutes from June 24th, 2025. That's been seconded by Ms. Diggs. Please cast your votes. And that passes unanimously. This time we'll open the floor for public comments. Seeing no one for public comments is closed. Next agenda item this evening is the review and acceptance of the financial reporting to June 2025. Is there any board discussion? Mr. Jackson.
Again, good evening, Commissioners. As a note, especially with the very valuable presentation that Paul Rogers from 76 Strategies gave on last month, we have submitted to them the Section 8 and low rent check void requests. So they'll be updating that listing for both accounts for next month's financial report. So a lot of those checks that you see on there through December of 24 will be voided off of that report. And these are, again, checks that have been sent out but have not been cashed or deposited by the payee. And also, we did get the Capital Project Fund account established at First National. And going on next month, we will be introducing a third report to the packet, specifically for the CFP account, and introducing that report. We'll be able to reconcile the budget by ensuring that the costs that have been attributed to the low rent account are correctly categorized as capital fund or capital project fund account items, so that the low rent budget isn't over budgeted by the amount that it currently is shown as. So again, that was another part of the conversation that we had last month with Mr. Rogers as it relates to the actual budget breakdown for low rent, but it's because we were waiting for that third account to be opened up so we could move some of those expenses that should have been categorized as capital fund or capital project fund account to from low rent. Just wanted to make sure that the commissioners were aware of that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jackson. Is there any further discussion regarding the financial reporting for June 2025? All right, seeing none, do we have a motion to accept the report into the record?
Commissioner Ware, pass a motion to accept the financials into the record as presented.
All right, Commissioner Bailey has moved to accept the reports into the record as presented. That's been seconded by Ms. Diggs. Please cast your votes. All right, and that passes unanimously. Thank you. Our next agenda item this evening is review and acceptance of the fiscal year 2023 to 2024 A133 audit. Mr. Jackson.
Good evening again, Commissioners. Beginning on page 126 in your packet, just wanted to kind of give the commissioners a breakdown of the findings that were noted in the audit by Mr. Estes. We did have a finding regarding the RMP for our HCV program, and that will be corrected as a part of our budget reconciliation as we prepare for the 24-25 budget to make sure that those expenses that should be categorized to low rent and the breakdown of the expenses that are divided between the two is more correct and current, so that the RMP doesn't look so out of whack, if you will. The next finding regarding the unsupported payments, that will be corrected as a part of our currently in place credit card and expenditure policies. And those were not in place when the issues that created the findings occurred, but we'll make sure that is carried on going forward. We did have a finding regarding our procurement policy, and that following our procurement policy, and that will be corrected as a part of the current procurement policy that we have in place, which was not in place when the issues that created the finding occurred. Also, we are now advertising and documenting RFPs electronically through the Housing Agency Marketplace portal, and Davis-Bacon monitoring is a part of all of our construction contracts or our professional service contracts if they meet or exceed the dollar amount as indicated by the federal law. The finding regarding our late audit submission to the legislative auditor will be corrected moving forward. As we all know, we did have a reconciliation of about maybe 2 years of our agency's financials that happened within a few months, which also coincided with our unaudited submission. Again, the unaudited submission and the audited submission were timely to the federal government, but the state legislative auditor has a March 30th deadline, in which in contrast to the federal government having a July 30th deadline. So we are aiming for and will ensure that we have a submission of both the unaudited and the audited financials by that March 30th deadline, so that we won't have this as a finding anymore. And there was also a little bit of a disagreement on some things between our fee accountant and the auditor, which did in a way contribute to the delay. But again, these issues will be corrected moving forward to make sure that we have timely submissions not only to the federal government but also to the state legislative auditor, and us being on track with financial reports being current will definitely be a help to make sure that our turnaround time with getting information to both parties is quicker. We did have a finding regarding a review, or the board's review of the financial statements. That, of course, has already been addressed and corrected because now the board is getting monthly financial statements. That was actually a recurring finding from past audits. And there was, again, the finding that reoccurred about Davis-Bacon monitoring. Again, that's already in place. I will let you know that we did have a contract where Davis-Bacon was not followed, and we did, as a part of the agreement, hold back a percentage of the final payment to the contractor as a penalty. So we are not only following our policy and following the federal law, but we have actually been in the process of implementing and enacting that. And the last finding that we did have that was recurring was again the audit submission to the state legislative auditor, but again that will be corrected within the next year's submission.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I noticed in your report for the audit that we incurred and paid $103,785. That's our deficit amount for HCV.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a lot of that had to do with the significant amount of consulting fees we were previously paying. I know we addressed a lot of those in the last few months, and just wanted to know, have we done enough that we're not going to see that deficit moving forward?
And yes, and it also, just in looking at and researching the issue, we were not properly prorating the expenses, so it created more of a burden on the HCV account, which in essence did not, it negatively affected the reserve net position. Also, a part of this was the shortfall because of the we had a month basically without an HCV or a HAP payment from the federal government because of that shortfall. But again, making sure that we have the prorations at the right level, that's what we're working with 76 on right now, to ensure that this is not listed or indicated as a finding going forward.
All right, thank you. Any additional board discussion regarding the A133 audit? And if no discussion, do we have a motion from the board to accept it into the record? Commissioner Bailey.
Commissioner Webb, a motion that we accept the A133 audit into record as presented.
Commissioner Bailey's moved to accept the A133 audit into the record. That's been seconded by Ms. Diggs. Please cast your vote. All right, and that passes unanimously. Next agenda item this evening is our Executive Director's Report. Again, thank you, Mr. Jackson. Go ahead.
Thank you again, Chairman. And again, we hope that everyone is doing well on tonight. We want to thank you, the commissioners, our residents, and our stakeholders for their continued support and guidance of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. In your board packet tonight, we have the June 25 low rent report, which can be found on page, sorry, I thought I had that pulled up. Page 163. For the month of June, we had a rent collection total amount of $15,023. We have currently, of our 129 units, 70 that are on mod, 47 that are leased up, and 12 that are vacant. The 47 that are leased and the 12 that are vacant are at our boutique property. And we have had some move-ins since the end of the month, so that number will be going up. And we are, again, trending to where we'll be able to meet or exceed the 85% occupancy rate as established by HUD, even by our estimation going past that by the end of September 30th of 25. We currently have 260 applicants on our original waiting list, and on the new waiting list, 77 applicants. We have waiting list mail-out letters. We mailed out 15. We had 6 work orders completed in June that were completed in a timely manner. And again, we will be providing the commissioners with the quarterly breakdown for the Inspire inspections at the in the August board meeting report. We have a new admission in Unit 245. We did include the work order listing beginning on page 167 through page 172. On page 173, we included our repair plan for the vacant units, which indicates the units where the work is completed and move-in ready, and also the units where we are in the process of making repairs. All of the units where the repairs are going on, we've been making significant progress in them, especially the burn unit, which is unit 254, through GRC, who's been our contractor on that work. We did award the work for units 260 and 261 to two local contractors, and they've already begun work on those 2 units to get those cleaned out and turned around. So that is our low rent update for the month of June. We also have a report for HCV, which begins on page 176 in your board packet. And that is the HCP General Activity Report is the end of June 30th, 2025. For June, month of June, we had 2 port outs searching for housing, St. John Housing Authority, and we have 5 port outs leased up, St. John, Kenner, Ouachita, and 1 housing authority in Texas. We have 18 port ins that are billing from Kenner, Hano, Thibodeau, Houston Housing, St. John, the city of Fernandina, Florida, Natchitoches, and Jefferson Parish. We had 0 EOPs for the month of June. In the month of June, we made $268,670.68 in HCV payments, and also we took in $297,608 in HCV income, which includes HAP and the admin income and incoming portable payments from housing authorities. Currently, we have 9 voucher holders in-house searching, and we currently have 244 vouchers leased up. We did not add any landlords to the program in the month of June. We also include our VMS report, which starts on page 178 in your packet. This is the this is the May VMS report. The June VMS report was submitted timely, but is currently not available for this board packet. It usually coincides again with the timeline that we have in place to give to send board packets out, and when it's actually due to the federal government. And so we will be usually a month behind. Sometimes we may be able to get it in the packet if it's a later submission or an earlier meeting. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that the May report is what's in your packet, and the June report was timely submitted and will be included in your August board packet. We do have an executive session tonight that we're asking the board to enter into after this report. We do have one resolution being considered by the board tonight, the only one being a resolution authorizing the agency to transition from its current retirement services provider, Primerica, to Heart Retirement. And lastly, we did provide an annual report to the Parish Council at its council meeting on July 7th, as mandated by ordinance. The report was well received. We did have questions regarding our housekeeping seminar initiative for residents, where we'll be meeting bi-monthly with them to ensure that residents understand the expectations of their lease as it relates to the care of their home, and also letting them know what our responsibilities are to maintain the unit from a maintenance and agency perspective. And the other question that we received was regarding the updated timeline of our conversion and where we were at with that process. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jackson. At this time, our next agenda item is the executive director's report. Executive session. If there is a board member that would like to make a motion to move into executive session, you may do so now.
Commissioner Webb, I make a motion that we move into executive session.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Bailey's move to move into executive session. That's been seconded by Ms. Diggs. Please cast your vote. All right, and that passes unanimously. The time is now 6:22. We'll move into executive session.
We enter back into our regular meeting.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Bailey. Mr. Bailey has moved to resume our regular session. Do we have a second? Ms. Diggs has seconded. Please cast your votes. All right, that passes unanimously. The time is now 7:23. We'll now resume our regular meeting. Next agenda item before us this evening is our resolutions. We'll now open for public comment regarding Resolution 2507-2201, approving and adopting resolution to transition St. Charles Parish Housing Authority employee retirement benefits for Primerica to Heart Retirement. Public comment is now open. Seeing no one for public comment is now closed. In your packet this evening, you do have a memorandum related to this resolution before us this evening, Resolution 2507-2201. This is a resolution that came to the board and staff's attention that Primerica retirement benefits process is not sufficient for St. Charles Parish Housing Authority employees, and St. Charles Parish Housing Authority has engaged with Heart Retirement to inquire about being the employment retirement benefits provider for St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. As Heart is a trust made up of other housing authorities, Heart is a nonprofit entity, and engaged housing authorities have an allowance from HUD to forego normal procurement processes. This resolution would allow for St. Charles Parish Housing Authority to formally disengage from Primerica as a provider, transition that service to Heart Retirement beginning August 1st, 2025. The resolution also allows for employee and employer contribution payments that were not credited to individual Primerica accounts be authorized as an expenditure to Hart after the relationship between Hart and St. Charles Parish Housing Authority formally begins. This resolution allows for formal approval of the attached resolution authorizing Hart retirement to be the retirement benefits provider for St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. The resolution also allows for the executive director of or their designee to execute via signature the joiner agreement attached to this resolution. Approval and adoption of this resolution by the Board of Commissioners is required for the transition from Prime America to Hart to become official. And the recommendation is that staff recommends board approval and adoption of proposed resolution to transition St. Charles Parish Housing Authority employees' retirement benefits from Prime America to Hart Retirement. Is there any board discussion regarding Resolution 2507-2201? All right, do we have a motion from the board?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'd like to pass a motion that we approve Resolution 25-07-22-01, approving and adopting a resolution to transition St. Charles Parish Housing Authority employee retirement benefits from Prime America to Hart Retirement.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Bailey. Commissioner Bailey's moved on Resolution 2507-22-01 to approve and adopt a resolution to transition the employment retirement benefits from Prime America to Hart Retirement. That motion's been seconded by Ms. Diggs. Please cast your vote. All right, that passes. Resolution 2507-2201, a resolution of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Board of Commissioners approving and adopting resolution to transition St. Charles Parish Housing Authority employee retirement benefits from Prime America to Hart Retirement. The undersigned, being the duly elected Secretary of St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, hereby certifies that by written consent, following resolution was duly adopted, whereas the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority is a public housing agency established pursuant to Louisiana law, and whereas the mission of the authority is to promote adequate and affordable housing, economic opportunity, and a suitable living environment free from discrimination, and whereas the authority, as dictated by its procurement policy, must align employment benefits that are provided to employees with local, state, and federal law, as well as ensuring best practices to ensure compliance with regulations, as well as to be in a competitive position in the job market, and whereas the authority currently facilitates retirement benefits through Prime America with monthly contributions made to Prime America on behalf of vested employees, and whereas it has come to the board and staff's attention that Prime America's retirement benefits process is not sufficient for employees from the perspective of local, state, and federal law, and the current benefits process framework is not considered a best practice for a public agency, and whereas the authority has engaged with Hart Retirement to inquire about the employee retirement benefits provider for the authority employees, and whereas Hart is a trust made up of other housing authorities across the country, and Hart is a nonprofit entity, and as such, engaged housing authorities have an allowance from HUD to forego normal procurement processes, and whereas the resolution would allow for the authority to formally disengage from Prime America as a retirement benefit provider, and in all other business with Prime America as an entity for any authority benefits, and transition of the authority's employee benefit service to Hart Retirement beginning August 1st, 2025, and employee and employer contribution payments in the total amount of $21,546, comprised of amounts that were not credited to individual employee Prime America accounts based on attached statements, including an 8% return on investment that the accounts would have been realized had timely contributions been made, and that the amount of $21,546 be authorized in an expenditure to Hart and be credited to individual employee accounts after the relationship between Hart and the authority formally begins. Hart or authority employees to initiate individual account transfers from Prime America to Hart as a custodian of the authority's retirement benefits plan. Formal approval of this resolution and the attached resolution drafted by Hart authorizing Hart Retirement to be the retirement benefits provider for the authority, the executive director or their designee to execute via signature the joiner agreement attached to this resolution. Now therefore be it resolved that the proposed resolution to transition St. Charles Parish Housing Authority retirement benefits from Prime America to Hart Retirement is hereby approved and adopted. by unanimous vote. All right, are there any other matters before us this evening that need to be discussed?
Yes, sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you again, commissioners. Just wanted to make sure that everyone noticed or noted the recovery agreement follow-up response that we have been providing to local HUD since we entered into the recovery agreement with them. We are only 2 items away from closing this agreement out. We will meet our occupancy requirement, we believe, by the end of August 25 of 85%. And we are also still working toward the conversion, and hopefully that item will be resolved when we receive our CHAP once the application is submitted to the RAD Section 18 team with HUD. Just wanted to make sure that everyone saw that as a part of the board packet. It's the last part of it, last document.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Any additional matters that need to be discussed? All right. Any additional updates with RAD Section 18 this evening?
Yes.
Go ahead,
Chair.
Mr. Jackson.
We now have all of the approvals to proceed with beginning with our ask of helping us to meet the finance gap that we're realizing with the conversion process. And that included the annual plan and the 5-year plan, as well as our capital fund action plan, all being accepted by HUD this month, in addition prior to when they were supposed to be submitted. So I just wanted to let the board know, Commissioner Bailey and I met with Standard Enterprises on yesterday, where they indicated that the ask to meet the financing gap will probably be more than the 3.2 to 3.5 million that we originally were informed of, and that due to interest rate issues, as well as they're working right now to make sure that they have the rents that they would be receiving as a subsidy in line with the federal regulation for the blend conversion update. Once we have that number, we will then begin setting meetings with local stakeholders, and also which includes not only parish government but also Louisiana Housing Corporation. And we will definitely update the board as we move along.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jackson. Does anyone have any further questions regarding RAD Section 18 conversion update? All right, seeing none, we're now open for public comment. Seeing no one here for public comment is now closed. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to pass a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
All right, Commissioner Bailey's moved to adjourn the meeting. We have a second by Ms. Diggs. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes. The time is now 7:33. We are adjourned. Thank y'all, everybody.